So imagine you quit your corporate job to do some soul searching. Bali, Australia. Give me 2 seconds. Yes, it's light. So, freedom, sort of like the dream life, you know, surfing, meditation, yoga, living in a camper van in Australia, surfing, again, almost every day surfing. It was an amazing time, but at the same time, there was something that was missing. I spent almost a year in Bali in Australia, really doing the soul searching part of like, you know, what's really the more meaningful thing in my life, more purpose, why am I here, and what do I want to share with the people, and what do I want to give back? Because when you work as a consultant, I worked in Toronto, you feel sometimes a little bit like that you're helping the big corporations to become rich. You know, you work in those big gray cubicles from 7 to 7 in the banking and IT world, and after 4 years, it was enough. So this became my new life. But then still, there was something. I wasn't really happy, even though it might look like a dream life. And the really important thing that I really missed during this 1 year in Bali in Australia was community. This is a picture from me in Toronto. I lived there 2 years. And I was part of a really strong community over there. It was a running community. And when you live abroad, one of the really important things for me to feel at home is friendships, community. Because you don't have your family, you don't have your friends. So, who's been living abroad? Do you recognize this? Yeah, so even though, you know, Bali and Australia, they sound like amazing things and amazing adventures, I missed something because Bali is a holiday destination. Even though it has like amazing co-working spaces, I joined one of them in Canggu for 2 months. Then, I don't know, I got a little bit hang up on the party lifestyle, living the life instead of like really building a company feeling. It might sound familiar because there's so much distraction in Bali. So what I lost was a little bit of my community, because I was serving a lot, was doing a lot of partying. So what happened is that I was meeting with a lot of people who were on holidays. But I was not on holidays. And that was a really big thing that I realized made a really big change for me, that I didn't feel at home in Bali. I was moving every month as well to a different place, different home. I don't really know why I gave up that co-working space. It was just, now I look back, it was a stupid idea, really stupid. So after 1 year, I realized, okay, something has to change. So I came back to the Netherlands. That's only a month ago. And after I quit my corporate job in Toronto, I started my own company. It's called Blackbird Negotiations, where I teach especially ambitious women the strategies of negotiations. So I help them to get better fees, better salaries, because there's still a gender pay gap. Because I felt I really wanted to do something with women, empowerment, coming together, but still a little link with the corporate life, because in the end, we all still work for money. So why not earn what we're really worth and help? So it's a combination of helping and corporate life. Yeah, so I started this company, and I joined another co-working space here in Rotterdam, hashtag work mode. And I see some faces from hashtag work mode. Where are they? Oh, they're over there. And it's an amazing community of ambitious women who all work together. We all share knowledge, we all support each other, and it's really important. Even though this is my city, starting a new company is already so scary, and it's, you know, you really have to find the right people around you. So you need to find other entrepreneurs who are in the same boat as you. So that's why I joined this community. What else do I want to say about this? yeah, maybe a little bit more about finding purpose, more meaning in life, the idea of like quitting corporate. Ikigai, who has read the book? Yeah, I read the book while I was still working in corporate, and I thought it was so interesting to, you know, what's the meaning of like life, or your reason for being, or where do you jump out of bed for in the morning? I didn't really jump out of bed in the morning for a job. I'm curious, how many people are employees here? And how many people work for themselves? Oh, it's still a lot. That's amazing. And the people who are employees, do you feel like sometimes, you know, you're just in a rat race, or do you really enjoy the life? Rat race? A little bit. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I had that feeling a little bit as well, and I really started that soul searching in Bali. And you know, I'm still searching. Even though I started my own company, it's a journey, right? I don't know if I will be doing this in 2 years, or in 4 years, or 5 years. I don't know, but I'm on the way. And what I found really interesting about the Ikigai is that it's a combination of what you love, what you're good at, what you can be paid for, and what the world needs. And I just really like the idea of the passion, the mission, vocation, profession coming together. Are there people in the room here who think they're living from their Ikigai? Oh, that's amazing. Yeah? I hope, yeah, I think I'm getting there, but yeah, a little bit by little bit. So a little bit more about what community means to me. When I was still studying here in Rotterdam, I went to Erasmus University to study law. I went on exchange to Singapore. It was an amazing time. I was 21. But a lot of people told me, you know, when you go to Singapore, you don't really connect to the people. So just find your other, you know, exchange students and become friends with them. I thought, no, you know what I really want? I want the local experience. So during this time, I made some really amazing friends who were also local and in my classroom. And until today, which is now almost 10 years ago, so I still see them, because I was living in Bali. And when you live in Bali and you do the digital nomad life, you have to do those visa runs, sort of. I can tell you more about it another time. But I would fly to Singapore a lot, 1 or 2 days, 3 days. And I could always go to my friends and stay with them. So that was also my community. I really felt at home in Singapore. They brought me to the local restaurants. They showed me their culture. I really loved to be in Singapore. I felt so at home. And then I moved to Toronto. And the first thing I did, I think after 1 week of living there, I joined a run community. And that was the picture you saw over there. And what you really have to do when you find your community is to find a community that has the same interests as you. You share the same passion, the same ideas. It can be sports, it can be anything. So I joined this run community and I felt at home so fast. We ran marathons together. And I don't know if there are any runners in the room, but those marathon runners are like so cliquey, and the only thing we want to talk about is running. So it was the best community. We would run in Chicago, in Toronto, we would run anywhere. And it was 2 years of really great experience. So that's the biggest thing I missed in Bali. I'm also really curious, are there people who are planning on working abroad as well? Yeah? Where? Which country? Africa? China. Interesting. Are there also people who are planning on going to Bali? It's amazing though, you know? You should go, but join a co-working space and don't get lost in the holiday party going combination of meditation, yoga vibe if you want to launch your company, because it's not the best idea. Yeah, and a little bit, when I was preparing this presentation yesterday, I saw this quote, and I thought it's really interesting. Like, the women you're becoming will cost you people, relationship, spaces, material thing, but choose her over everything. And I thought it's so important, because when you really follow your heart, your passion, it doesn't really matter what other people think of you. Because That's where life is all about. And of course, it's really important to have your friends and your family and your community, but find the right people. I was reading a book, it's called $1 Million Women, really interesting book. And she wrote something like, find people who will cheer on you, but also challenge your thoughts. Because sometimes when you start your own company, you're already your biggest critic. Sometimes when you surround yourself with people who are really negative, it doesn't really help, because I'm already so negative about everything myself. So what you want is this support group, the positive ones. You want that people challenge you. The people who want you to challenge are the ones who are successful, or at least they failed 100 times but are successful now. But a lot of times what happens is the people who are not successful, they are giving you really negative feedback, and it doesn't really help. So find your community when you're an entrepreneur, or when you move abroad, in whatever field you are in. Maybe this is a funny sidetrack. I've always really done what I wanted, and it didn't really matter to me if I was not fitting in. I remember when I was, I think, 7 years old, I was really like a big animal lover, and I remember that I saw, I think, bullfighting on television. I think I saw it on television, yeah. So I joined RSPCA, I think. And I went through all the houses in my neighborhood and ring the doorbell, and I would like get as many signatures as possible to stop bullfighting in Spain. And I told my parents, we're not going to Spain, we're going to boycott this country because it's horrible what they're doing. You know, really young. And then at 10 years old, I saw the cow disease, gekke koeienziekte. I think it's like 20 years ago, and I saw all these horrible documentaries about how they treat the cows and stuff. So when I was 10 years old, I just decided I will never eat meat again. And my parents are not vegetarians, they're still eating meat. But you know what's nice? When you really do something from your heart, when you're really, you know, feeling that you're doing the right thing, it doesn't matter what other people think, because it's coming from inside you. So your passion, really try to follow your passion. Try to find that one where you want to wake up in the morning and think, yeah, this is where I stand for. And yeah, be fearless in the pursuit of set your soul on fire. So I'm still driving. No, not really driving. I'm still on the way of like really feeling something that sets my soul on fire. But what makes me really happy with the company I'm having now is to coach all these women to get better salaries. And then when they call me back and they say, oh my God, I felt so confident when I was talking to my boss about my salary, or about the raise, or you know, or maybe even to work one day from home. And that's where I do it for. That's where I wake up. It's so amazing to see people achieve something and be really happy. So I really hope today I've inspired you a little bit to follow your heart, wake up in the morning to something, jump out of your bed, and really find your community, because it's so important. Don't do what I did in Bali, do what I did in Toronto, do what I did in Singapore, and you know, join a co-working space and live a really good life. Any questions?